We humans are unique. You are unique. I am unique. At one and the same moment, you may be feeling lost when I'm feeling I'm exploring. Or I may feel lost and you think that you're exploring, and we're both in the same setting. What makes for the difference? We often find ourselves shocked to come to find that when we think we're lost, life is really asking us to explore. Which one we do, thinking we're lost, thinking we're exploring, depends on our choice. It determines the path that we take. The labeling and the mislabeling is what leads us into confusion. If I'm lost, but I'm really to be exploring, I get confused and disoriented, and indeed I become lost. When I'm exploring is a whole different path. How would your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors change if you knew, while thinking that you were lost, came to understand that life is really asking you to explore? How would you think differently? How would you feel differently? How would you behave differently? And here again, as we've learned in earlier sessions in medicine singing, it comes down to what we believe, we perceive, and we receive. I want to take a minute for you to get a piece of paper and pencil, or your laptop or iPad if you already have it out, and share with you an experience that can be helpful in discerning the difference between lost and exploring. It's a vital life skill to have. When an important life event confronts you, you can take this format. At the top, you label the experience that is facing you. Then below it, you divide the page in half, and on the left side, you write lost. And on the right side, you write exploring. And so the experience that confronts you, you then go to the column that says lost, and you write down what you believe and what you are perceiving and what you feel you are receiving. If it's a conflict with a friend or a dear loved one, you may be afraid to tell them how you really feel, and so you're thinking they won't like what you have to say. And then you begin to perceive that the way they're responding is they don't like what you have to say. And so you're receiving you don't like what they have to say. On the other side, you write exploring, and you write what you believe and what you perceive, and then what you will come to expect to receive when exploring. Remember one of the principles we've also learned in medicine singing. If where I am is not lost, and who I am is not lost, and where I am is sacred, then I am to be exploring. So under the lost side of the page, you've written down the experience that you're anticipating people will think and feel about what you may say and what their responses will be. That's that stimulus and response kind of thing that we've all learned. It's at this point that you'll begin to notice fear and anxiety and perhaps even dread when you consider taking a behavior that may be ill-received by those around you or ill-perceived. And so we notice the aspect of anxiety. And that's what comes with believing that we're lost. You may find that writing under the column of lost, you're writing more about fear and anxiety of what others are thinking or are going to do in response to you than you are about what you're learning and how you're accomplishing living a life on purpose. On the exploring side, you have written all the possible changes that could occur if you believe and perceive and receive the experience as one of exploring. So even if we have mislabeled it as lost, we now change to a label of exploring and find a different part of the universe. On the exploring side, you're writing about what it'd be like to believe that the moment is full of possibilities based on your capabilities and competencies and your assets and strengths and weaknesses. And you're listing those things and the possible responses others may have. Now, they may not change from the side where you wrote about lost, but you're different in what you believe and perceive and then receive. Here you'll notice a difference. Anxiety, which was on the lost side, begins to shift itself and become anticipation. And anticipation can become excitement, because the possibility is between the inhale and the exhale is everything becomes possible, because you believe you are exploring. So we begin to see what the difference is between lost and exploring. And it's not about making a difference to the other person. It's about our coming into that moment with a belief and a perception and a willingness to receive, exploring rather than lost. Now, your ego may be lost if you can find it, but you're not lost, and where you are is not lost, and where you are is sacred. And so exploring becomes a fantastic possibility in your life, in that moment between the inhale and the exhale. Now we're in a spirit of anticipation. We anticipate and have a sense of excitement that something different could happen, and in fact it does, because we're different. Welcome to exploring. And what we're learning are several things of the difference between lost and exploring, because exploring brings its own character and qualities to it that we can begin to recognize as signposts along the way that say, yes, we're on the right path. We are exploring. And we will come to know these 4 things about exploring. First, observing. We spend more time observing, noticing, being attentive to what is going on around us, and making observations, rather than focusing on, how can I get out of here? How can I get found? We have a sense now of anticipation, which is, what would it be like to explore this moment with a sense of possibility and new beliefs and perceptions? I'll receive something new. The second thing about exploring is extending. We find ourselves extending ourselves to others in the world in a way that we don't when we collapse into a fear of lost. In exploring, we extend ourselves to others in ways that are meaningful to us in relationships and can be healing and helpful to others as well as the world. And when we are in the nature of life, we leave the least footprints that we have to, but we leave all the love that we can. The third thing in relationship to exploring is that we find joy. We can now experience joy where before it would have been fear and anxiety, thinking that we're lost, perceiving that we're lost, and receiving that we're lost. We now find we are not lost. Where we are is not lost, and where we are is sacred. And so there is more joy. The joy that can bring more laughter and fun with friends or loved ones, or just alone on a walk in nature. Our shift from anxiety and fear to anticipation and joy becomes a profound signpost for us that we are on the verge of an immense and new possibility in our lives. Now that I am exploring and I'm extending myself to the world around me and to others and to nature, and I have come to find times of joy, I now find the 4th marker on this journey of exploring, and it is expectation. I now expect, rather than the worst, I expect the most powerful, life-changing experiences. Does that mean I never feel bad or poorly or sad about what things are occurring? Not at all. But it means I am here, and where I am is sacred and profound. And so I have that choice between inhale and exhale to make a difference Now that my expectations have changed with new beliefs, new perceptions, and new receiving on the journey of exploring, I find a powerful tool to reduce fear and anxiety. And I replace it now in this journey, in exploring, with anticipation. In fact, I induce it. We know you can induce anxiety and fear and dread based on your beliefs and your perceptions and how you receive things. In this journey now, with these expectations of change, in exploring, we induce anticipation and excitement. We come to expect more from the experience of exploring than we expected of being lost. Fear in being lost constricted our lives, and now in exploring, it is expansive with anticipation, inducing joy, as well as empowerment in the most difficult of times, or in the most tragic of times. Shifting from lost to exploring, now we move from blocked to blessed. We move from blocked to blessed. Now, as we anticipate and face any experiences in our life, we can have a greater sense of extending ourselves into the world and to relationships and our own personal life in ways that sometimes will mean you will become someone's hero, or you will be someone's helper, or you will be someone's healer, and they the same in your life. As we move from blocked to blessed, we now can be part of the dance of life. That means there is less dread and anxiety in our lives, and now great blessings. And off we go into the nature of life, not blocked but blessed, not with dread but with dreams of a life of meaning and purpose that propels us into the future with hope and transformation as we move from lost to exploring.